Let me ask you a question. Who is your favorite player? Is it Mike Trout, Bryce Harper, Correa? Is it Corey Seager? Who is it? Whoever it is, there's a certain way that person carries themselves. The perfect model of this, there's actually two perfect models. Number one being Derek Jeter, the number two, and the second one being Mike Trout. See, if you want to improve your confidence, it's a matter of the way that you carry yourself physically. It's a matter of what you see in your mind, the standards that you hold in your mind, matching your results. So confidence is something that we can talk about for hours, and we can do, a whole seminar, a whole masterclass on confidence alone. But what is confidence at its essence? And what does confidence look like to you? Because think about this. Have you ever seen someone that's just, lazy, overweight, doesn't take care of themselves? And I'm not being rude or disrespectful to anyone, but there's people that don't hold themselves to a very high standard, but have all the confidence in the world. You see, confidence is a matter of matching results with what your standards are. So if you hold yourself to a high standard, right, to be this excellent player, but your results are down here, there's a reason that your confidence isn't where you want it to be. And it's not about lowering your standards. It's about keeping high standards and matching up your results with even higher standards. So you might you might say that, Sam, that's crazy. How do I raise my standards even if I'm not performing up to my standards right now? See, there's an idea that we don't think clear enough. We don't think big enough. If we don't think big enough and we're not very clear with what we want, right? So confidence, what does it look like physically? How does someone carry themselves? How does someone walk? How does someone talk? How does somebody do what they do on a regular basis? How do they structure their day? How do they talk to other people? How do they interact? What kind of teammate are they? How do they carry themselves away from the field, away from the media, away from the spotlight? It's about getting clear with what that standard is and not just having this broad general standard that says, oh, I want to be a great player. See, your brain doesn't know what a great player is, and that's why your actions aren't matching up to it. But if you get very clear, if you get very specific with what confidence looks like for you, like I said earlier, there's, someone could be a bum and be very confident, right? Because they don't care. They don't care that they're not what they're doing physically. And I'm not saying I agree with that. I think you should hold yourself to a standard in all areas of life. Actually, there's this tattoo on my arm here, arete. So arete is Greek terminology that basically means striving for excellence in all areas of life. And how it relates to confidence is that you set a standard and you strive for a higher standard in all areas of life. Think about this story real quick. Arete was formed when they started the Olympics. If you've ever seen Greek statues, you've ever seen the Olympics originated out of ancient Greek times. And arete was the athletes that would train for competition would obviously take care of themselves physically, but they would also be mentored by older men, fathers, former athletes on the mental side. And that would help them in their relationships, and that would help them in all areas of life. But it was an idea, it was holding themselves to a standard of, I need to think about what is a clear, definite, and what is a obtainable, and what is a sound and a good, whatever good is to you. Good, you can go into ethics, but that's varies by culture. What is a good way of holding myself to a higher standard? And what does that look like? And then how do my actions meet up to the higher standard? And you might say, what if my actions don't match? It's a matter of understanding that even when you fail, think about Mike Trout, greatest hitter, the old cliche of if you hit 3 out of 10 times safely, you're going to be a Hall of Famer. But he does much more than that. He's an excellent outfielder. He's an excellent teammate. He hits home runs. He drives in RBIs. He gets on base, so on and so forth. He obviously holds himself to a higher standard, but he doesn't succeed all of the time. He knows that he's going to strike out. He knows that he's going to make errors. He knows that he's not going to be perfect. But he realizes that it's just simply part of the process to accept failure, to accept it and learn from it, and to take it as feedback, and not to say that, oh, I'm such a terrible person, or I'm not a good player, or anything that's going to take you away from what that outcome is, what that standard is. And just accepting that this feedback is helping me get closer to my outcome. So again, confidence is something that we could talk about for hours, for days. It's a very complex subject, but this is going to start you on the right path. I'll see you in the next video.